What is going on, YouTube? PPS back here. It is 30th of March. We're on our last round of NBA for the month here. I'm Past the Prop, joined by Monotone Football as well. How you doing, Monotone? I've been seeing you hitting some big boy plays lately. I've been seeing.
Yeah, I've kind of converted, I guess, a little bit almost into more of these long shots, but I've been writing them up every day for Vegas Insider, and it's been going well. I get to kind of pick my spots. Like today, I don't have anything too crazy except what we'll talk about at the end. But yeah, no, doing pretty good. NBA's been going pretty well for me, honestly. I know it's not a lot of people's favorite time of year. Just there's a lot of crazy shit going on, but I've somehow been kind of finding my way across. So,
yeah, man, it's been, don't get me started on some of these blowout games, on some of these crazy things. Like I said, I had Cole Anthony a couple days ago, and they just did not play the entire fourth quarter. Just going in full-on tank mode, which I guess we're going to probably see from a lot of these teams down the stretch, unless you have like that's why I kind of like the Rockets, because they have so many young guys that they have to play, right?
yeah.
That they're trying to develop, that this is the time where they get to just kind of go out there and eat a little bit. And same with the Kings. And same with like the Pistons too, right? You want to develop these young guys, you got to play them. Obviously, Orlando's a little bit past that, where they got like Wendell Carter's a few years in. You got a lot of older guys. Even Okiki, was like the number 6 option on that team. Didn't even play the fourth either. So just one of those games where you just kind of hope that that's not the track for the rest of the year for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, no, even kind of hitting me with my Wizards a little bit. You know, we're not quite the same cash cow we were for a little bit when everyone was trying. You know, it's kind of the reality for a lot of these teams is setting in. Like, oh, we're not making the playoffs. We're not playing for anything right now. And like you said, a lot of teams are starting to start their younger guys. So we just got to try our best to keep up from a player prop perspective and, you know, do our best to go with these lineups. But it's going to get uglier too. We're not even at peak ugliness yet. I know, you know, from doing this last year, I mean, with COVID, it was like there would be guys that they'd rule out like 15 minutes after the game started. And you're like, what's going on, you know?
Yeah, like honestly, if you are not by your phone for the last hour before lock, please do not play DFS right now. Just don't do it. Like, I'm not even playing because I won't be on my phone. So, like, I won't even be playing DFS tonight. That's why I didn't put out any DFS stuff. Just because literally someone could get ruled out. Like Trey Mann, I was rolling in my fantasy lineup. I had Roby in that game. I had Melodon in that game. I had Jokic. My lineup was cooking. And then they rule out Trey Mann like 5 minutes before the game, and he was still owned in like 18% of lineups because everybody still had him, because obviously he was a great play that night, point per dollar, and all of a sudden you're just eating a zero. So that was unfortunate, but that's why I said if you're going to play DFS, that you're on your phone quite a bit here on these. So, we got about 50 people in here right now. Obviously, a little short notice at the 2 o'clock time. I know we've been doing NBA, we've been doing college basketball, but we're going right back to the league here. And I kind of like these games. I know we talked about it a little bit. We kind of were talking about, we got some pretty good games here, total wise, spread wise, not many huge numbers. I mean, I think I seen like 2 of them that were pretty big. I think that was the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets were like 9, right? I think that's what it was. The Nuggets were like a 9-point favorite.
Yeah.
And I think there was like a 14 in there somewhere, 13 with the
Pelicans.
Thunder and the Hawks.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, and the Pelicans with 15.
Third one. Yep.
11-game slate. Jay, thank you for joining us. It is a beautiful looking slate, and I hope that we'll be able to make some money with you tonight. There's really not anything else on tonight, really, besides the NBA, a couple college basketball games. But the NBA is taking full all of our attention tonight on the gambling side. So I'll let you start us off, Monotone, with your first play of the day. Going to a Charlotte team today to start us off.
Yeah, and Charlotte has not been, like a friend of the show, I guess, for us. You know, I know you haven't done that much with them, and I haven't at all, just because there's so many different guys that kind of do their own thing on a day-to-day basis, right? They're a volatile team. Their game plan changes kind of a lot based on who has the hot hand. A lot of stuff can go wrong betting on Charlotte, but we do have the advantage. They always have those super high totals. They don't play a lot of defense. So it kind of makes up for itself a little bit. We get plenty of opportunities. I like Bridges right here because he's played the Knicks 3 times this year, and he's hit it in all 3 times. In his first game, he had 4 back in November. Then he had 5 about halfway through the year. They just played a week ago. Bridges had 9 assists in that game, almost getting up to a somewhat achievable triple-double for him. So he's the kind of guy that we know has the passing chops. That looking at power forward stats, for assist is always a little bit tough, right? Because not a lot of forwards pass the ball that well. So I kind of don't look too closely at that. What I just look at is it's going to be a tougher matchup for Bridges than a lot of these other guys. We talked about this a lot. The Knicks are a prime guard matchup spot right now, especially as we're seeing more quickly. I mean, I like the guy. He can score, not too great on the other side of the ball. It's just situations like that where I think we're just going to revert. Even though Bridges had 2 down games, he's averaging 4.8 assists in the month of March. I think he kind of reverts back to what he was doing. Like I said, 9 assists a week ago in the same matchup. It's just a bit tougher for him. I think Bridges is going to be doing a little bit more facilitating, a little bit less scoring today.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. You guys know I usually like attacking rebounds in Knicks games. I also like attacking guards in Knicks games. But for that exact reason, probably why you like the assist line here, right? Because I mean, they are not good at guarding the outside and the guards. Obviously, their interior is fantastic. This has been like kind of that spot that we've been going at, right? We've been going at guards against them for points, and I kind of like this kind of switching it up a little bit, going with the assist lines of the guys that are going to have tougher matchups. I do love Bridges. He's one of my favorite guys to go to on this team. I really think he's the only guy I've really been betting lately from the Hornets because he's really – I won't say consistent because he's not really 100% consistent on like those big games, but he does enough of everything where if like you're in DFS, he's pretty reliable when he gets the rebounds, throws a couple assists in there, gets you like 15 to 20 on most nights. So he's the most reliable on that aspect, and I like this spot. I think this is a good spot. I think the juice is definitely worth the squeeze on this one.
Yep, and you mentioned rebounds quickly. I'll just tease this. I'm writing about it a little bit later. I'm also on rebounds and assists, too, for kind of the reason you said. A lot of big men playing in the paint. Bridges is going to have to do a little bit more dirty work tonight. So you mentioned it. I figured I'd bring it up real quick.
Perfect. Well, make sure you guys tune in over there on his Twitter. Got that in the description below. Make sure you go check that out to grab that one. And my first one is going to be in that fast-paced game that we were talking about a little bit. I'm going to ride the hot hand here. I got Jalen Green over 20.5 points. Obviously, I am not worried about defense in any aspect of this game. There's really going to be absolutely zero defense to be found here. And obviously, pace is going to be there. Houston is number 2 in pace this year. And now we're going to have them playing up against Sacramento, who I don't even know if I can name the bench players on this team anymore because all their bench players are their starters now. And we're going to be rolling out there with a pretty poor defense. Sacramento is number 4 in defensive efficiency, being they're bad. They're the 4th worst. Sacramento is actually 4th worst, which you'd think would be the worst in this game. And Houston is ranked last in defensive efficiency. So should have quick possessions. We've been seeing Jalen Green play a ton of minutes, 40 minutes in their last game in a competitive one. 17-point game against Portland, he played 32. 20-point game against Portland, he played 28. All 3 of those he's hitting these in. Christian Wood, obviously, that's a big loss for them. That's a lot of shots to go up yet. And obviously, Sengun, I think they've labeled as doubtful right now. So if he's actually ruled out, I like this play even more. That's why it's kind of in that tentative 1-unit play. Because he is a very volatile player, but this is the type of game where he will thrive in. When it's fast, defense is not an issue, and he can pretty much shoot whenever he wants to. Looking at his shot chart here from the last 3 games, when we look at the last 3 games, he's gotten 24 shots, 17 shots, 16 shots, and, I mean, he is shooting a ton of three-pointers here, and that's a very nice thing to have against Sacramento, who does not guard the 3-ball well. He shot 15 threes last game, 11 the game before, and 10 the game before that. So his last 3 games, 3-point balls flying up, a lot of shots. Pace should be there. I really like everything about this matchup and think Jalen Green is definitely going to be one of the focal points of this very battered up Houston offense. What do you think about this game, Monotone? And as a whole, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, as a whole, I actually almost considered betting the Kings this morning. I know that sounds a little bit silly this time of year, but these are both really rough teams, right? Neither of these teams are good. And not only are they not good, both of them are probably start benching their best players too, right? We already know that Houston has sat Christian Wood, Dennis Schroeder. Those guys are done for the season. It's Jalen Green time. You know what I mean? If there was any time for it to happen, it would be right now, and he's already playing very well. Like you said, we're right in the hot hand right here. I think the Kings win this game. I see a Kings -3 support in the chat, which I do like to see because it just seems like they're going to win this game pretty easily. But like you said, super high total, fast-paced matchup. There's not going to be a lot of defense in this one. I think there's plenty of points to go all around because even besides Green, I'm not even sure who's going to be really carrying the scoring load. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see Jay mentioning the Dante DiVincenzo matchup, and I know Dante pretty well from watching a lot of his games. And honestly, I'm kind of 50-50 on who he would guard because, I mean, he's the exact same size as Kevin Porter Jr. as well. They're all 6'4" in that range. And Kevin Porter Jr., I wouldn't be surprised if that's who Dante guards just because that's the straight point guard. It's either him or Davion Mitchell probably who's going to guard him. Obviously, I would prefer Dante DiVincenzo on Jalen Green than Davion Mitchell. And I think Davion Mitchell probably will stay with Porter Jr. So we could see it on either one. It's pretty much 50-50 on which one goes because they're both kind of – all four of them are pretty much the same height. 6'4" for sure on Jalen Green, Kevin Porter, and Dante. So it's kind of – I'm kind of interested in how they'll match up there.
Also, Dante's still coming off the bench too, so they don't perfectly align. He's the guy. I'm waiting for his lines to come up, man.
He doesn't come out, man. Too. I don't know why.
I got on him last game. I had to wait to write my 3-point article to 5:30, something like that, just because I wanted to do. They wait till the last minute to release it. We all know they do this stuff, but be on the lookout for Dante DiVincenzo. He's just been crushing 2-3 threes every single game.
Jason in the chat, let's cash some tickets. Hell yes. We got Garth in here talking about T-Wolves money line. I don't even know. What's the spread of that one? I think it's like 2, right? 2.5?
It's 2.5, I believe. Yeah, that'll be a good game. I'm real excited for that one. Not going to be the best for player props, right? Both teams are going to probably clamp down a little bit more, but going to be a really good game.
Love it.
And I would side Raptors too, by the way. That's just me. I like the Raptors a lot.
Dude, the Raptors are so tough because they only play like 6 dudes, and they're their best dudes, and they don't care. So, when you go to the bench, the Raptors still have 3 or 4 starters on the court against your bench, which is tough in the NBA when you have those like that. Let's get one more in here. We'll get one question in, and then I'll get to the rest of them after our second one. We have Sam here in the chat saying 4+ assists for Bridges, 2 threes for Melo at +100. Is that something you would possibly look at, looking at the LaMelo side and the Knicks struggles versus guards?
Yeah, no, 100%. LaMelo's been playing really well too, shooting super well from beyond the arc. I just, I normally parlay it when it gets to -150. Anytime you have to bring 2 variables into it in the NBA, it's always kind of frustrating. But I definitely don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for plus money. Yeah, definitely a good look there. We will go into another fast-paced game that's kind of weirdly going under the radar in the prop market. I don't know how. I really don't know how it's going under the radar, but Monotone's going to that one here to start to get our last play from today.
Yeah, no, you said it yourself. That's what I was thinking when I was writing my article because, I browsed Twitter a little bit before in the morning, see what the popular plays in town are, and even my Discord too. Normally my Discord's super in tune with kind of the best plays of the day, talking them out real early, and I saw nobody mention this game. I was kind of surprised. I mean, we love the Spurs, right? The only thing about the Spurs is they're like a terrible fourth quarter team. It happens every game. They melt down. So sometimes starters miss some minutes, but we're only seeing a 5-point spread, which I also think is a little bit disrespectful for the Grizzlies. They've been one of the best teams in the NBA without Ja Morant. But one of the reasons because of that is Tyus Jones right here. He's kind of the backup point guard kind of guy. He's not a flashy player. He's an efficient 3-point shooter, but he does most of his work around the rim, right? He's better at getting downhill, attacking the rim, and that's what we love doing against the Spurs. They are so bad at protecting the paint. I always defend Podol. He's a good guy, good shot blocker, but he is not a one-man wrecking crew down there, and he gets beat up pretty bad. So Tyus Jones does most of his work there. And like we always talk about, I think he can get us there with assists, and I think he can get us there with points. I could very easily see, a 13.6 assist game. I could see a 20.4 assist game. And I could also see him go 10-10 for a double-double. He's done that for us before. Tyus Jones has been great to me this year. I'm on his assists separately, but I do think this points assist kind of gives us the most value there is all around.
I love it. Yeah, Tyus Jones has been a moneymaker when he doesn't obviously have Trey in there or Ja in there. Someone mentioned Trey in the chats. Now I'm kind of thinking of Trey now. But yeah, I mean, him, D'Anthony Melton, those guys are showing why Memphis is one of those best teams out here in the Western Conference, a tough Western Conference. And you're obviously missing your best player. And I think there's, 16-2 or something like that? Something crazy. Some crazy record without Ja, which obviously Tyus Jones has been a big part of. This game is – that's what I was thinking. I'm like, how is this game not getting, a ton of action everywhere? This game is 235 total. This is crazy. How are we not seeing, 20 things on Twitter popping up about plays in this game? Because it just screams fast-paced, screams props, everything. I'm happy that you're on a play in this one. And I'm actually going to the other game that we kind of talked about a little bit there. And I'm actually going to Fred VanVleet tonight. I get it. If you look at his box logs from the last 3 games, it is horrendous. It looks absolutely ugly. But again, when we do props, right, we're trying to buy the low. We want to buy the dip before it pops right back up. And I won't be surprised to see this at 27.5 in about a week and a half or so. Last game, I am not taking anything against Boston ever. I have never bet against Boston in the second half. I'm not betting against them. I'm only betting for them. Their defense is crazy. The addition of Derek White was just great. It just fits extremely well into this defense. But he obviously played 40 minutes in there, only had 14 points, 3 assists. You go into their game prior to that, they beat Indiana by 40. They put a 40 piece on them, only plays 17 minutes. So obviously that's going to bring it down. And in the game against the Cavs, he went 10-8, right? 10 points, 8 assists. He only shot the ball 9 times in 40 minutes. So the issue is not minutes, right? You never have to worry about the minutes. He should be playing 38 minutes, especially if we just talked about a 2.5 point spread. And if we go to games before that, right? If we go past those last 3 games, we're kind of a little bit of weird stuff has been happening in those games. He hit 24 in 5 of the 7 prior to that. And last month he was averaging 20.6 assists. This number was getting hit with relative ease. Competitive games, it's 35 plus. He's seeing 40 minutes in some games. They have no issue throwing him out there for 40. And now you have a great matchup. Absolutely fantastic matchup. You can't really beat this matchup. They're the number 1 pace team in the NBA now, actually. Minnesota has now crossed that line. Them and Houston are tied for first. This is going to be almost, I think it was 3.9 possession boosts here for Toronto. You can't really ask for much more than that. Obviously, Minnesota isn't the high-end defense either. They're pretty much middle of the pack, but the pace is going to help us out a ton here. And I'm really looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be a great game. I would be on the side with you and leaning Raptors quite a little bit. But I just think this is a good buy low spot, good price thing that we get Fred VanVleet to the spot tonight.
Yep. No, it's like you said, you want to buy low in these kind of opportunities. I feel like I'm doing this very similar thing with Bridges, right? I'm glad you mentioned the minutes. They're both guys that play some of the most in the league. You want to catch these guys coming off of, a couple down games because we know they're going to revert to what they have done all season long, right? We have these career stats. We have these season-long stats for a reason. They show us the kind of guy Fred VanVleet is. And the team is healthier now, but obviously you're accounting for that in more assist equity. He's going to have a little bit, but probably less of a chance of peaking in the points category. But when he's the team's primary ball handler a lot of the time, we have more chances for assists. So It's an interesting game. I'm excited for this one, but I do think he is better suited than a lot of these other guys because he's a more versatile scorer. Someone like Gary Trent Jr., who does one thing and does it very well. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher game for him. Scotty Barnes, a little bit less of an experienced scorer, tougher game for him. I think we're going to have to see guys like Fred VanVleet step up, especially when Pascal Siakam sees Vanderbilt in the paint. And
That's
for
what I was
those
gonna
people
say.
that don't watch basketball, Vanderbilt may not be a name that sticks out to people. He's a very good defender, very, very good. I think he's very well built to guard Pascal. So I think we see guys like Fred VanVleet kind of have a good day today. I like what you're looking at.
Yeah, no, that was exactly what I was going to say is like these guys are long, right? Those guys in the paint,
Yep.
like even though Cat isn't really known as a big shot blocker, he's still a long, tough body to get through. Like you're not going to have those easy ones here. And the exact same thing you talk about with Tyus Jones and the ability to drop a 10 assist game. Like I could see a 15 and 10 here for Fred VanVleet, and I wouldn't be surprised, right? There's certain guys that you want to grab both on, and like I said, both sides can easily pop off the assist and the point side. NBA props 20 in here. Talk about Gary Trent being his favorite guy in this game. I can't blame you. I mean, this game is going to be a fun one from the prop perspective here. And yeah, very, very excited for that one. Jay mentioning that it's Tyus versus Trey Jones tonight. That'll be fun. And Jay mentioning the Kings -3 there. Alan actually bringing up a very, very big one in here. I did give out Kevin Love on YouTube about 3 hours ago on my channel a little bit ago, talking about Kevin Love. So if you want that play, that's the second biggest one of the day. That's over there if you want to go grab that one. And I know me and you are on the Davion Mitchell hype train, and we will be getting to that one shortly. Again, guys, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat. We'll get to those as soon as we can. I'm looking up and seeing if we have any other questions. I don't think so. But yeah, do you just want to go right into the long shots here?
Yeah, sure. I will drop one thing real quick though. I've noticed. I know you're a guy that has access to the offshore books. I know a lot of people do, right? I'm looking at Prop Builder right now, and Kevin Love for him to have 2 threes, right, is -228. And for him to have 2 threes everywhere else is like -400. It's not like a big deal, but I'm gonna probably write my article about that, and probably Saturansky assists. That's something I've been riding recently, but just figured I'd drop that in there real quick. I feel like the 100-point discrepancy is kind of huge, you know?
Yeah, on the down low, I'm actually on Kevin Love threes. I already posted that one this morning with my Kevin Love play. 2.5 at +115 this morning.
Yeah.
That's wild, man. That's wild. The dude just shot 12 last game. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, no, I like Love a lot. But I just want to throw that in there. We'll get into long shots now because I love these two, honestly. I feel really good. Long shots have been going well for me recently, so I feel good about it.
All right, here we go.
Yep, so mine's a player performance double. I've got 2 of them lined up. They're +300 separately, so I took them both separately. But together, +1460. We got Mitchell. We talked about him a little bit more. Davion Mitchell, not Donovan. And Sacramento to win that game. And then we've got Tyus Jones to have 8 assists and Memphis to win that game. Both of these really stood out to me. One, because the player performance double part of the team actually winning, right? Sacramento and Memphis are 2 teams that I thought were being disrespected by the spread a little bit, right? I would have had probably the Kings as 5-point favorites rather than 3 points. Same with Memphis. I would have probably had them 7 or 8-point favorites, even without Ja over the Spurs, but they were only 5. So I thought we had some line value by itself there. And then the volume with Mitchell has been so good recently, right? He's getting downhill. He's getting to the paint. He has the potential to draw fouls that way, but it's just higher percentage shots. It's what we love to see. He's been consistently getting to this mark. The books are finally catching up, right? His numbers were 17. His numbers were 18 just the other day. Now they're up to 21. I think 25 is still within the realm of possibilities very easily. And then moving on to Tyus Jones, gets a great matchup against the Spurs. He's averaging 6.8 assists per game without Ja Morant over a 20-game sample size, which is pretty hefty. We know the guy is a good passer. We've got a great matchup against the Spurs today. I feel like this is really good for plus 1460 right here.
Yeah, I cannot fault you. We talked a little bit about what I'm on as well. And I'll be tailing your Tyus Jones play. I'll obviously have to tail this one as well here. Yeah, that Houston game, I love it. And that's where I'm going to be going for mine. I will get to that again, guys. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I think we had like one or two in here to grab before I get to mine here. And I went on to DraftKings for one of the special ones here. And it's Jalen Green to score 25, Davion Mitchell to score 25 at plus 700. And I just think that this line is way, way off. Like I'm liking this play even more now that I think about it. Like I would probably put this around plus 4, plus 500. I throw a half unit on this to bring back 3.5. Davion Mitchell just dropped 21 against the Heat, and he played 41 minutes. They got blown out by 21. So he's damn near blowout proof at this point. You have a team that doesn't care about playing defense. Both of these guys are going to have the ball majorly when they're on the court, right? Looking at Jalen Green, the dude is playing, obviously he's playing guard, and he's had multiple games with 0 assists. This man goes out there with one job, and that's all he's thinking about, and that's shooting the basketball. He's hit 25 in his last 2 games. Davion Mitchell's hit 25 in 2 of his 4, crossing 20 in all 4 of his last ones here. That I think that's when they started pretty much saying we're done for the year, right? Pulling out Fox. So I think this will be a fun one. I'm going back and forth. I would love to see them go back and forth. If I'm playing DFS, I want both of these guys. I think Davion Mitchell's still super cheap. He's like 7,600 for a guy that's been putting up numbers like this. He needs to be higher. I really don't understand the reason why he's not, because if you're going to put De'Aaron Fox at like 9K, what makes Davion Mitchell any different when there's no Fox in the lineup here, right? He's getting the exact same minutes. He's even better defensively, getting you stocks most of the time in most games.
Yep.
I will be playing both these guys in DFS. If we did a DFS portion, these would probably be my 2 dudes. But 25 apiece, I just feel like that this plus 700 is just not really where it should be. And that's on the DraftKings hybrid props that I found that one at.
Yeah, no, I mean, like we said, man, this is going to be an offensive explosion game, right? I don't like, I don't want to use like the lock word or anything like that, but the Mitchell one with the volume, it just feels like that's just flat out a misprice. I think we both acknowledge that over all of our plays. And even like you said in DFS, like imagine what Fox's price would be without Sabonis. Well, that's probably what Davion Mitchell should be like right now because of how he's playing. And then Jalen Green, we've got to take advantage of these new circumstances, right? Sometimes it takes these books a couple days of getting burnt before they realize, oh, the Rockets are just going to let Jalen Green take like 22 shots a game now. Like they've got nothing to lose. Let's see what we got right here, So I think plus 700, I would have guessed when you said this out loud, probably plus 500, maybe 550.
Exactly.
So I think we're getting some really nice value for the 2 obvious guys tonight. You know what I mean? They are the 2 guys set up to succeed. So I think it's a good game.
One last question here is we had, let me take a look at the comment here. It's talking about Halliburton assists when they're available be a nice spot. Do you have anybody like that that's kind of going on the radar tonight that you think might have a chance of popping off here? I mean, it doesn't even have to be under the radar. A guy that you're thinking about, maybe it's not in one of these fast-paced games, but maybe a slower-paced game that you think is just going to have a chance of putting up those slate-breaking type numbers.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I wasn't originally going slate breaking, just under the radar, someone that hasn't been posted yet. I do think we talked about him a little bit earlier. I think DiVincenzo is actually where I would be going with that just because of the pure volume. In terms of someone that could actually break the slate, the Boston-Miami game, everyone is just ignoring that one, right? No one is talking about Boston-Miami, 2 of the best defensive teams in the league. We have no clue. Do these guys even want to win this game? Like with seeding, like Miami's been tanking pretty much. The Celtics, I mean, the other day they had a chance to go into first, I believe, and they rested all their starters. So that game, I feel like if there's a game where someone just comes up and completely destroys value, it might be someone even at the top like Jaylen Brown. I feel like that could be the game that maybe isn't getting talked about enough.
Yeah, and actually, on that point was one of the guys that broke my slate tonight or a couple days ago that really helped me if Trey Mann would have played was Peyton Pritchard. Yep. Peyton Pritchard destroyed. He was minimum price over there.
Yep.
Ended up with like 30 points, and that's 10x, right? That's all you're really looking for at that point in that price point. I know you mentioned Luka might be a spot that you might be looking at tonight. I know that game is super slow. Talking about that game, Alan brings up a good point here. do you have any thoughts on this? I know Dallas just played a massive game yesterday against the Lakers. Obviously, it turned into quite a bit of a blowout, but I mean, still, that's still a full game you have to play prior to this. Do you have any thought on that game at all?
Yeah, this is a good question. This is like a very interesting topic of discussion in my Discord this morning. This is what I woke up to. The lines today are crazy, man. Is it a trap? I want to say no, but it's screaming trap. The same exact thing happened in the Warriors Suns game. The Warriors opened as 7-point underdogs, and it went as low as 4. I believe maybe even 3.5 in a couple spots. Some of these lines moving in the direction you wouldn't expect, but not just moving a couple points. They're moving like someone just got injured type of movement. So I don't know. I feel like for me, the best course of action here isn't, maybe I'm some mega mind genius. I'm just probably going to stick to the player props today, because looking at that line, you said it yourself in your comment, and then looking at the Warriors line, a couple of these are just like, what is going on right now? What is this line movement? So for me, I'm just going to probably sit it out.
Perfect. Jay's mentioning Brandon Williams' assist. I was actually looking at his points, man. That dude just shoots a boatload. This would be a points assist type of guy that I would probably look at. I know he's popped over 20 a few times lately. Watching him and McLemore play is kind of fun, right? Ben McLemore is an absolute – he's just lightning in a bottle, man, every time.
I Portland is completely crossed off for me, by the way. I haven't touched a Portland game a couple weeks, probably won't for the rest of the year. Maybe CJ McCollum against Portland. That's another one. We didn't talk about that at all. Are you looking at that? Because
I did look at it. Look at it. He was $9K though on DraftKings. I think he's pushing into pretty high end guy range there.
Yeah.
I don't think he does enough to get me there at that price point. Because he's not really a rebounds guy. His assists have been getting there, but if I'm paying $9K for a dude, you have to be putting up 45 pretty easily.
Yep. And looks like the Brandon Williams truthers are taking over the chat under that one right there.
Book's disrespecting the Suns, but I like it because I got them as dogs versus the T-Wolves. Nice. Oh yeah, here's your Brandon Williams.
Yeah, no hate at all. I definitely see what you mean. The guy under said 14.7 potential the last 3. You guys are not wrong at all. For me, it's just I'm not going to watch these games. There's a 0% chance in watching it. It's just not enough for me. Just like what happened with the Magic the other day. Just as easily, they could start 5 guys I've absolutely never heard of, and that scares me. When that could happen at any given second, I'll check out. And we got 11 games today. You know what I mean?
My only thing is for you to get an assist, you need to have somebody make the basket. That's the biggest thing. Besides Ben McLemore, who's making an outside shot in this game? Maybe Keon Johnson. I seen him make a couple. I don't even know. He's still 3,800 on DraftKings, and he's playing defense. That should tell you something. This isn't going to be ugly. It's going to be a really ugly game. Yep. Steven Adams over 10.5 rebounds. Definitely a good look. That's really the only thing I'll ever touch Steven Adams with. I won't touch his points. I won't touch assists. It's going to be rebounds and rebounds only there.
Yeah, he's so annoying because it pops for me every day, right? When I'm looking through my initial run through, it pops. And he hits most of the time too. It's just he hits in 24 minutes. And it's sometimes he just has 6 rebounds in 24 minutes. And then you look at him and it's was there a big difference in these games? And it's no. Sometimes the guy can get you 20 rebounds if you give him 30 minutes a night. You know what I mean? Adams is just so hit or miss for me. It's hard to project, honestly, but he should be in line for another good spot.
Yes, and this is exactly what we're talking about here with the Jalen Green portion of things. And I believe that I don't know where I read it. It might have been Twitter, it might have been a beat writer. I don't know. But they were talking about how they were assuming that Sengun was getting shut down for the year. But they mentioned in it there's 5 guys. He's one of the 5 guys that is not going to get pulled for tanking, right? They have a very, very young core here with a lot of young guys with Jalen Green, Kevin Porter. Sengun is super young. These are a lot of really high-end talent. Josh Christopher, all these dudes. They're fantastic. They're super young, and they have to get the experience in here, and this is going to be the time to do it, right? This is their chance to do it.
Wizards legend Garrison Matthews too. Still over there on a nice contract. So good for him.
Yeah, he got paid. Paid. All righty. Let's take I don't think we have any more questions here, so we'll just go through a quick run through. Be a nice, quick, short one today. So I'm sorry, I'm busy later on. Unfortunately, I got to pop out a little bit earlier than usual today. Whereas usually we're probably running closer to that hour 10. Today will be pushing like that 40, 45. But I still love these plays. This is, again, kind of one of those days where it feels like we have a pretty good grasp on a few of these games. I'd never use that L word. I'll never use it. Never a word that's in my vocabulary. So I feel like we're in a good spot. I feel like the numbers match up to where we're going to be. And I think that we got good looks on this one. So I'll let you start us off with your 3 plays for today.
Yep. I went with Miles Bridges over 3.5 assists for half a unit. I went with Tyus Jones over 18.5 points and assists for half a unit. And then for the long shot, we went with Davion Mitchell, 25 points, and Sacramento to win, along with Tyus Jones, 8 assists, and Memphis to win. You can get that at plus 1460 on FanDuel. And they're both plus 300 separately. So like we always say, put a little bit on them each separately. I think they're both looking good.
Yeah, no question. That's always what we say, because how many times have we been one leg off and we hate ourselves for it. But I'm going to Jalen Green here over 20.5 points, minus 110. If Sengun is ruled out, I probably will sprinkle a little bit more on it, just because that's an extra 13 shots, and I don't think Jalen Green's going to be too shy about it. Fred VanVleet over 24.5 points, assists. This will be my biggest one for the show. Minus 110. This will be a 1.5 unit spot. And then I'm going to the same game one. This DraftKings prop hybrid, I believe they're called, with Jalen Green and Davion Mitchell 25 plus at plus 700. I think those lines are absurd. I think that we're definitely beating the value on that one. In that. All right, Monto, we're to the end of the show. What do you have? You have anything else for the people heading into tonight? Any other closing thoughts that you're thinking about?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got some other NBA that'll go up a little bit later. I kind of teased that Kevin Love thing. I'll probably write that one up right when we get off. But yeah, no, everything's going. Masters is next week too. So we've got a boring week of golf with the Valero this week, but I'll be doing some Masters stuff too. Maybe we'll figure out some impromptu way to bring it up on next Wednesday. We'll see.
Yeah, either do a Wednesday or maybe like an early Monday or something. We'll come up with something to get
a guest maybe.
Get the golf fix in, because I always like betting golf because those numbers just look so nice to me when I'm seeing plus 10,000 and plus.
And it's not a one like in the NBA. It's a 30-minute sweat. In golf, you're there for 4 days, man. They hit it in the water. You're like, oh, I was just spending the $5,000 in my head. It's fun. It's real unique.
Yeah, no, I've been doing a lot more DraftKings golf just because it just makes the golf, like watching it. Like I was gonna watch it anyway, just because it's enjoyable. Like the Masters is huge.
Yeah.
But when you got money on it, like it changes things. It's like, oh man, if this guy hits this, I could win.
Yeah.
Even if it's just $50, it's a cool experience to have there. To do that, we have Jay in here saying he's hyped for the Masters. So if we have enough people that are interested, maybe we do something on that Monday. I might be doing more college baseball with you in here. You do the golf, I'll do college baseball. But yeah, you're definitely the smarter guy for that. So I would love to pick your brain on that.
It'll be fun.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Again, smash the like. Make sure you go into the description. We'll find Monotone's link to his Twitter. That's where you're going to see a lot of the plays. I'll be having some plays drop shortly. Obviously, I won't be around later in the night, so I'm going to post them out pretty quickly here and get us ready for tonight's massive slate. I'm very excited. 11-game slate. DraftKings, I'm sure I'll be playing. FanDuel, I'm sure I'll have a little sprinkle, but not normal amount, because I won't be around 15 minutes before when they say Jalen Green stubbed his toe or something right before in warm-ups, just something stupid like that, because that's my luck,
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Quick one today. We'll be back Friday, maybe at that early time like we did last Friday. Seems like a lot of you guys like getting your coffee and listening to our voices here. So I'm happy that you guys are tuning in early on those ones. So Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will talk to you guys in about 48 hours with a few more plays for Friday. So thank you guys. Have a good one. Best of luck tonight.